Self-made millionaire that's made it his mission to teach over 250,000 people the financial skills you should have learnt at school. Jamie McIntyre is taking your calls and sharing invaluable money skills, from internet businesses to property investments, share trading to empowering women and youth with market smarts. Take advantage of his worldwide experience and get your questions ready for Jamie McIntyre tonight on Your Money, Your Call on Australia's Business Channel.
On Australia's Business Channel. Welcome to Your Money, Your Call.
Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining me for tonight's edition of Your Money, Your Call. I'm Nina May. Well, joining us for the first time this evening is Jamie McIntyre, who's the CEO and founder of 21st Century Education. Jamie is an entrepreneur, investor, author and self-made millionaire who's made it his mission to teach people financial skills that he believes should have been taught in school. Be interested to find out what they are.
It's great to be here in sunny Melbourne, and I'm excited today, excited for you, and also excited because it's a brand new program. As Nigel mentioned, this is the first time ever that I've delivered this program. It's been in the making, obviously, probably over the last 10 or 12 years, but in particular in the last 12 months, I decided to create a new program and decided to call it Time Rich. Now, some of the team have been asking me for the last several months, what's it all about? So I had to sort of come down in a concise way, explaining what the program is going to be about. And effective is what Nigel mentioned as well, is really what the outcome of today is to teach you, how to become have a millionaire's lifestyle in less than 12 months without even needing to become a millionaire. And who could get excited by that? That could be true for you. Now, I know some of you are saying, Jamie, I first enrolled in 21st Century to learn how to actually maybe become a millionaire. So if you already are a millionaire or you're on the track through investing and becoming a millionaire, these strategies will still apply. So certainly the other programs will teach you about becoming financially successful. This program today is not about investing. You say, Jamie, how can I have a millionaire's lifestyle in less than 12 months if I'm not investing? Well, I'm certainly a big believer in investing and in the share market and the property market and things like that. But there's other ways to go about having a lifestyle, and that's really what I want to share with you today. And it's things that I did in my life. And I look back on my journey, 15 years ago. Ironically, I actually had a high, even though I'm not, I have an amazing life and a great quality of life in comparison to most people in this country. I'm very blessed and very fortunate. But ironically, I actually had a higher quality life before I became a millionaire. On my journey of what I was teaching, and I've taught for many years, over the last 8 or 9 years, is that the concept of going on a holiday 1 week every 4 to 8 weeks. Who remembers, those who are 21st Century members, I've talked about that concept. And I really want to explore that a little bit more today, and combining what makes it now possible. What I'm going to talk about today is really directly applicable to, I believe, 70% of the population in Western societies. So in Australia, 70% of people, like in this room, I would imagine 70% of you will be able to directly apply what I'm talking about today to produce the results that we're talking about. There will be another 30%. Now, what I mean by that, the results really are to be able to free yourself from being chained to a desk, effectively. A lot of people are in the 9-to-5 trap, etc., and chained to a desk. Who would like to be able to be freed from being chained to a desk in 12 months or less? Fantastic, most of you. Now, some of you are already fortunate enough to be in that position, so you have a head start. 30% of you, statistically from what I've noticed, will be in a position where you, because your particular career, will not be able to apply the strategies fully. But even if you're in that particular situation, we'll talk about that today, you'll still be able to apply a lot of the concepts to dramatically improve your situation. So the other benefits when we look at today is how do we go about achieving a lot more in life, but in a fraction of the time. How do we achieve more in less time? How do we achieve more by doing less? Because who's noticed there's some busy people out there? Okay, and who's one of them? Okay, and there's this methodology from the past and this social conditioning that to be successful you have to work really hard. And I come across this epidemic, and I've got nothing against hard work. As some of you know my story, I grew up on a farm, and it was instilled into us to work hard. And I grew up with a very strong work ethic, and that's been part of what's contributed to my financial success. But I had to get out of the mentality that working hard was going to necessarily, and being busy was going to produce a result. It's a myth, and it's a dangerous myth. And I see it even with some people in my different companies, etc. And I have to pull them up and explain to them. It's like a lot of people want to look busy or be busy to justify their position or to justify that they're achieving something. And I say to people, I'm not interested in how hard you work. I appreciate you have a strong work ethic, but all I'm interested in is what? The results. All I'm interested in results, because society demands results. Is that true? And the days of hiding out in a job or, are long gone in most cases. We used to talk about that many years ago. You could start with a job with Telstra or CBA, and you pretty much, or BHP, and you pretty much start there when you leave university, and you'd finish there at age 65. You'd work in one career for a lifetime. And those days are pretty much gone. Then a lot of people that wanted to hide out in jobs would usually work for who? Exactly, the government, okay? And where you could work in the past in government organisations, and you could pretty much look busy, shuffle papers all day, and get paid, and no one would notice whether you actually produced a result. Okay, but even those days have changed. I often joke about a true story in New South Wales, where I live most of the time, is that it hit the papers last year that in New South Wales government they have a policy of non-redundancy. So let's say you work in a government department, but there's no longer a job for you, they can't sack you. They have a policy they won't sack you. So they just put you in limbo. And there's over 500 people in limbo waiting to be removed to different departments when they hopefully find them a job. And it hit the news because these people, many of these people, over 500 of them, they have to report to work every day. There's no work for them to do. They have to log onto their computers, but they have to physically be there. And some of them have been doing this for over a year now. And it hit the papers because they got a pay rise. So when we talk about the concept of making money while you sleep, effectively that's one way to make money. But there's not many of those opportunities left, okay, unless you want to move to New South Wales and hopefully get a job with the government up there. So what I'm talking about today is I'm generally excited about it. And as I said, it's a brand new program. I never taught it before, so I'm going to talk a lot off the top of my head. But I believe that this concept, these strategies that we're going to learn today, have the greatest potential to liberate more people than perhaps any strategies that I've ever come across before or ever taught before. And that's a pretty big claim because through 21st century in the last decade, there's been tens of thousands of people that have freed themselves from the 9 to 5. But predominantly most of those have done it through the investment strategies that we're taught, through the shares, renting shares and the property strategies. And in later years, we're taught many through internet and business. But what we have today is something that doesn't require capital, but anyone can actually apply. And that's what I'm excited about. And what's made it possible as I go through these strategies, a big thing that's made it possible is today we have technology that enables us to do things differently and achieve more in less time and be able to work remote and things like that. And that's going to give you some clues of how we're going to go about doing this. Okay? So I certainly want to challenge you to keep an open mind. Okay, as I go through some of these strategies, some of you are in careers right now that are fairly restrictive. Who's in a career that you might want to change in the next 12 months? Who's in that situation? Okay, who honestly loves their career but maybe doesn't want to work quite as hard? Okay, and who doesn't want to work at all? Okay, there's a few honest people in the room. So it's really up to you in life. We're going to look at that concept of what our Western societies, the social conditioning that we've been sold. And really, is there any sense and logic to what most people are doing? Or really, is there more to life than just being in the 9 to 5 rut and just working for the sake of that? And that's what we're going to look at today. So I want to challenge you to keep an open mind, even as we go through it, even in a restrictive career at the moment, then there's things you'll still be able to apply today that can improve that, or ultimately might become a decision saying, no, I want to move out of this career into something that's more rewarding. Or maybe some of you don't, particularly your career is not your major driver, you just want to be free to live the life you want. Okay, and not have to work. Where other people like Jamie, I really want to be passionate about things, and like myself, I still continue to work a lot and build new businesses and new careers, but that's more of a passion and a sense of purpose where I want to contribute and make a significant difference. Where in other cases you could say, well, I don't want to work anymore and just have a great lifestyle and travel and things like that. So it depends where you're coming from, what your goals are. But no matter what we do, we want to do it in a way that we're not tied and chained to a desk. And the ironic thing you'll learn today, and I challenge you this, is most people think, what's the biggest thing people think they need to have a millionaire's lifestyle? Tell me. Money. And in that thinking is where most people believe in society is where the delusion or the myth starts. And that's what we're going to explore today. Now, you sure say, well, Jamie, it's all right for you. You already become a millionaire, and then you're going to teach people how to have a millionaire's lifestyle without becoming a millionaire. It's all right for you. You have the lifestyle regardless. But the point is and I share my story today as well, that often by increasing your wealth, there's a certain amount of wealth you need to have the quality of life you want. And often when you go beyond that, you actually lose to extent your quality of your life. What I mean by that, I have friends that, one of my friends in a situation several years ago had built up a very successful very successful organization, company, and he had nearly 500 staff working for him, and he was going to list his company on the share market and would have been valued at $500 or $600 million, and he would have been like the majority shareholder. So he would have walked away with close, he would have become half a billionaire. And then it all collapsed. And it was only several years later that he realized, he said, you know what? I actually was, for ego and whatever reasons, wanted to build this huge company and make literally $500 million, hundreds of millions of dollars. And he said, I actually could have scaled that business down when it got to a certain point and stopped trying to grow it and force it to get big, and had everything I ever needed in my life. Could have traveled the world, done all the things. He said, I was on this treadmill, even though I had more money, but I was just in the pursuit of whatever reason, predominantly egotistical reasons, to get something really big, to have all this money that you didn't really need to have a quality of life, and then he ended up losing a lot. Now, obviously, he's recovered and realized that now. He said to himself, he's only in his 30s, and said, I was going to sacrifice perhaps the 5 or 10 or 15 years of the best years of my life in the pursuit of that, when is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? And the challenge that most people have in Western society is the idea is of deferment. Is I'm going to work really hard on this project or this career for X amount of years, and then eventually I'll be able to have the life that I want, or eventually I can retire, or eventually I can go do this. And they keep deferring their life. And they defer the best years of their life, and then they get to where they think they want it to be, and they've missed so much in life. Who can relate to what I'm saying here? So my challenge is, what we're going to be doing here is thinking radically different and going straight for the result. And the end result is ultimately to have a millionaire's lifestyle without needing to become a millionaire. And if you become a millionaire, that's just a bonus anyhow. But when you do, if you do, be wary that you don't still fall into the trap of losing your lifestyle, because many people do. So, and I've coached many people that are incredibly wealthy that don't have a fraction of the lifestyle that people have that have a fraction of their income actually do. So sure, money is important. Having an abundance of that is great. I'm not going to deny that. However, it's not the most critical thing to getting what we want. And as we walk you through these strategies today, you'll start to see that, most people can actually be having the quality of life they want with the technology within a 12-month time frame or less by applying these things. And that's what I'm excited about, okay? Because many strategies out there, it's okay, people have capital, or they have develop a certain mindset and put a certain amount of effort in. But for a large scale, to shift large scale population into having a much better quality of life, to have strategies that make that possible, that's what I'm excited about. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. So I challenge you to keep an open mind, take lots of notes. Today is actually being filmed, so it'll be available on Homestudy. So I just want to welcome those people that will be watching this program from the comfort of their home, and we'll certainly be able to study this over and over again. So the question is, why do people want to become millionaires? What are they really after? What's the end result? Lifestyle. It's actually lifestyle. Some people think it's money and having large amounts of pieces of paper with deceased notables on them. But at the end of the day, all that can really get us is lifestyle. So if we're clear about the end result, we need to stay focused on that, because often people, and you'll see why, and I'll give you a simple explanation, why people get distracted from that end result and go for something else. And that because money, and what they go for is the money. As I share my story with my friend, etc., he went for, to become worth $500 million, and that's going to be able to do anything on the planet effectively. But he already had the financial capabilities at a fraction of that success to do anything that he wanted. Okay, so the reason is this. Let me highlight this illustration for you. If you had the choice, there is active income. Jot this down. Active income is income that we earn when we physically have to trade our time for dollars, true, like in a typical job situation. And then there is passive income. Passive income being known as money that comes in while you sleep, which you're all familiar with. So the way most people have been going about getting passive income is by becoming an investor. And obviously I've encouraged many people to do that, and that's a great thing. You should continue doing that as well. But that's the main way people have done that. And active way, the main people have done that is through a job. And we've been taught, go to school, university, get a good grades, and then we'll get a job. And the whole aim of the game has been for most people is to get the highest paying job. So the more you get paid per hour equals cultural success. But in that is a cultural trap. So let me ask you this question. What would you rather, $10,000 active income per month or $5,000, which is half the amount per month, in passive income? Who would who'd go for the 5,000 passive? Who'd prefer that? Okay. Because I'm speaking to the converted here, is it true? Who'd still want the 10,000? Okay. Who'd take the 10,000? Who could take both? Who'd take both? Okay, yes. So that's the point. What we're looking at here is there is a difference in that. Let me ask you this question then. What about if I said $20,000 a month income, active? That would be $240,000 a year, which is not a bad salary. Probably working in a corporate job, no doubt. If you're earning $240,000 in a corporate job, are you expected to work 8 hours a week or 80? 80, so you've got to accept you're going to take that sort of salary, and we'll be working 60, 80 hours a week. But hey, $20,000 a month, it's pretty impressive. What would you rather, $5,000 a month or the $20,000 a month?
I'd go active, but for a short time.
Very good. Someone says go active, but for a short time. Now, do some people do that in this country? Where do people, other than corporate jobs, are going to get these sort of incomes right now? The mining industry, etc. And that often will be that I'll go and do it for a short time. But often that short time seems to go a lot longer than that short time. Is that true? And then we start going to the trap of deferment. In other words, we're going to do it and we're going to defer our life to get the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Okay, which, if it remains a short time, can obviously be a very attractive strategy. Many people do that. But often, let's say you get into the corporate job and you're earning $20,000 a month. What happens to the cost of your living expenses? Do they tend to increase? Do people tend to become comfortable at that level? Even though they were comfortable maybe at $5,000 a month at one point, then $10,000, then $20,000. And they become comfortable. So to let go of that almost becomes an addiction. True? Okay. You'll see in America right now, because of the global credit crisis and the stock market crash and what's been happening in the world recently, is there is people in America, investment bankers. Any investment bankers in the room? Okay. They probably wouldn't put their hand up if there was. Okay. Investment bankers are like the new lawyers. Okay. No one wants to be an investment banker. There's investment bankers and people that worked in the financial services center, particularly in New York, that had net worths of 30, 40, 50, 60 million dollars US that are now broke because most of their shareholdings were in the company that they worked for through options and bonuses that they received, and now they're used to earning 2, 3, 4 million dollars a year US, working 60, 80 hours a week, a lot of stress, but earning a lot of money. And now they've lost their job, and there's not too many other jobs they can go to where they can earn that sort of income. And their net worth was predominantly shareholding, which is now, in some of those companies, Lehman Brothers, etc., virtually worthless. And so all of a sudden, imagine being worth 60, 70 million dollars US and comfortable for years with that quality of life, and then being out of a job and broke, and you have several homes, not just one, massive mortgage repayments, and a lifestyle that costs you millions of dollars to. Would that be a little bit of a difficult process, do you think, to readjust to the unemployment queues, yes or no? Okay. Or even not unemployment, if you had a few 100,000 left or whatever. It would be and many people cannot make that adjustment. They'll kill themselves or whatever, unfortunately, because it's such a harsh reality. Okay, like what people that went through they lived through the Great Depression, the Roaring 20s, where the high life and then crashed to mass poverty. So for people, it's very difficult. So money can become a drug and addiction. Who would agree with that? And in our society, it is an addiction. And unfortunately, it can become a very unhealthy addiction. So what we want to learn is not to maybe be aware of this trap. What if I said, though, so most of you are still saying I'd take the 5,000 passive, but I might take this for a short time. What if I said to you, 40,000 a month? active or 5,000 a month passive? Who's can start to see that? Who's starting to see that the allure, the temptation of the 40,000 is getting stronger? Who's starting to see that? And you see, this is what happens in society, is that this overrides what was the result of wanting a millionaire's lifestyle, was to have a what? Lifestyle. But often to have a lifestyle you need two things, true? One is money that we discussed. What's the other thing? You need the time. But you can see money has such a strong pull, such a strong allure, a strong addiction in our society that we want the lifestyle, but often we forget about the time and we'll sacrifice the time for 20,000, 40,000 a month because it's so strong. Who's following what I'm saying here? And as a result, you see that happens in society every day. Now, what we've got to look at and say, who has the greatest lifestyle though? And that's what we look at today. Someone on 40,000 a month, say that's 500,000 a year thereabouts, but working 60, 80 hours a week. Or someone on 5,000 a month that's pretty much passive. Who has a higher quality of life? That's the question you want to look at. If they structure their life accordingly, could they have a millionaire's lifestyle on only 5,000 a month? Yes or no? Yes. I would say yes. If we do it smartly and look at the way we go about doing that. Because you think about $5,000 a month that comes in. See, there's two forms of holidays. There's the stressed holiday, and then there's a real holiday. So those who've never been on a stressed holiday is this. You've been working so damn hard you need a holiday because you're stressed out. You can't really afford a holiday, but you go on it and put it on your credit card. And you put it on your credit card, it's like, short-term pleasure, long-term pain, you'll pay it when you get back, etc. And when you're on holidays, you're meant to be relaxing, but in the back of your mind, your subconscious mind's going, I've got to pay this off and work hard when I get back, so you're stressed even on your holidays. And then everything you're spending, you're thinking, my God, it's going to take me ages to save this back to pay it off. So